Here we go. It's a Wednesday evening, 8:30, and we are live. And I'm joined this evening. Dan couldn't make it this week, so I'm joined this evening by Mr. Frankenstein's Monster there.
Yeah.
How you doing, Frankenstein's Monster?
Great. I put my thumbs up about 2 minutes ago, and now they just come up on the screen.
We're having slight issues, technical issues tonight, so that there is a kind of delay in us speaking. Everything's delayed. The
Just
whole
get on
thing
with
is
it,
kind of
Mike.
like
Don't let it
it's
bother
kind of
you
like
like
in
me.
slow motion, but that's fine. But it's because you've taken it in your stride, Dan, haven't you? You've taken it right in your stride.
it doesn't
That's why I've got no
irritate me.
background.
It's good because
it's
now
all-
we're just talking over each other, which is great.
It's like Eurovision.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is Eat My Go. It is a Wednesday evening. We are live to the nations. And this is the Pompey pod where, it's all gone horribly wrong, Dan. And it's all got doom and gloom and horrible. It's all horrible again.
What is?
We lost. We
Oh,
lost the
that,
game.
yes.
We lost the game. And all the naysayers on the social media knew it was going to happen. They knew we were going to lose a game, and they were right. They were right that we did lose a game. So all is terrible in the world, and all Pompey players are once again completely dog's poo. So we'll be talking about that this evening. We'll review Cambridge. We'll review last night's Barnsley match, and we'll ask the question: are we going to get spanked at the weekend by Sheff Wednesday? Anyway, we'll crack on with that in a minute. But last week we asked the question: what was your favourite Pompey game that you have seen live? The emails have literally been flooding in their zeros. But pop it in the chat, and we'll discuss a little bit later. We've already discussed yours, Dan, haven't we?
No.
Did we not? I thought we discussed. No, that was your favourite ever, wasn't it? It was your favourite ever game. What's your favourite Pompey game live, Dan?
Well, this might surprise you, but it was in. Do you know what? I can't even. If I'd have known we were actually doing this, I would have found out the year. But it must have been. Is it 96, 97 maybe? And it was Pompey against Leeds at Leeds in the FA Cup.
Oh, yes, I remember it well. I didn't go, but I remember it well.
Yeah, and we won 3-2. And Terry Fenwick.
Oh, Rodney, wasn't it? Wasn't it Rodney? Oh, Rodney, what's his name? Svensson?
Yeah, Terry Fenwick was in charge, but Venables, who was, what was he, director of football or something at the time?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
he decided to change things up, apparently, and he played sort of Svensson and Bradbury on the wings, kind of thing, and they tore Leeds apart that day, and it was fantastic to watch.
This was, for context, Leeds were actually a bloody good side then as well.
Yeah,
they weren't great, were they? They were just for their really good early 2000s team.
Yeah, they were
late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, they were a top half Premier League team, and I think Lee Bowyer got both their goals.
So it must have been just the very early part of their David O'Leary kind of.
Yeah, I can't think what year. I should know the year. I'm sure it was 96, 97. Let me see if I can. What are you?
Yeah, well, I'll just briefly say that mine was, you correctly predicted, the 6-2 mauling of Derby County back in the 2002-2003 season, where Merson pulling the strings, the Yak and Todorov tearing them apart, was probably the first time we properly saw the Yak. Was it the Yak? It wasn't Yak's debut, was it? Don't know, it might have been. But he was incredible. Lightning, wasn't he?
Did he say that was his first game or one of his? I'm sure it was his first.
I think it was one of his first games, wasn't it? I don't know about his first ever, but yeah, he was amazing. Have you found the year?
96, 97.
Ah, spot on.
Yeah,
good show.
And there is, if you can see it on YouTube if you want to go and watch. that, and yeah, was very, very good.
Nice.
And I think it was the best away atmosphere that I've been to.
We'll try and get the details, and we'll share that in our Facebook and Twitter page. Yep. But back to the current period. By the way, as I said before, if you want to put in your favourite Pompey game that you've seen live, do so in the chat. So Cambridge. Let's start with Cambridge.
Yeah.
A hard-fought away victory was nice.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the game. I was away at a wedding. So it's down to you. Tell us about the game, Dan.
Oh, what, the game? Oh.
It was a dull one. It was a dull one, wasn't
it? Well, what's the old saying? You play rubbish and win.
Yes.
Something along those lines.
That's how the saying goes.
You play rubbish
and win.
We were quite poor, especially first half. No real chances. Back to boring Pompey. And they could have scored 3 or 4 in the first half. They weren't particularly good, but they were better than us. And then once we got that goal, we were quite comfortable, really. Second half was a bit different. We weren't brilliant again in the second half, but once we got the goal, and it was good to see Lowry come on.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a good win. I'll tell you that what summed it up was the fact that Mark Morrison, or whatever his name is, returning Mac. Yeah. He almost scored against us.
Yeah, I heard. He had
that's
just over the bar on it.
Yeah.
I looked at the stats at half time, and Cambridge had 10 shots to our 0 at that point.
Yeah.
So I wasn't hopeful of a positive result. But like you say, it's good that we ground out the result. And, lo and behold, we scored from a high ball into the box, back post header.
From Dale, I think, as well.
Ball from the box, from Dale, crossing the ball. It's amazing what happens when you get the ball in the box, isn't it?
I know, yeah. But it was another one of our...
go on.
Another one of our papery crack wins, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As was proved last night.
Yeah.
So what was your assessment of last night's game? I know you weren't getting frustrated with it in any way whatsoever.
I was an on and off viewer last night. It was I just found it quite frustrating. And when Pompey like that, it irritates me too much. In fact, to the point where when the third goal went in for Barnsley, the wife actually came downstairs and said, "What are you shouting at? Who are you telling to F off?" And I went, "Oh, that's just discreet, the Pompey in general." So it was just crap, wasn't it, Mike?
Painful. It was painful.
But then I think when people like Towler have such a bad game, he's not a bad footballer. So I think it was just one of those evenings where they were just all completely off form, weren't they?
I thought it was a strange one. I thought it started all right. I thought they definitely looked dangerous, but I thought we actually looked okay going forward as well. They obviously created a couple of early chances that they missed, and I thought, oh, okay. And then we kind of looked okay going forward. We had that one where Dale was offside, running through the middle. But I thought it was going to be a real end-to-end game. But it turned, didn't it? On that one goal, once they scored that goal, they just dominated. They dominated. Yeah. We had a little period, second half, got back into it, should have really pushed on from there. But just as soon as we scored, it's just like almost switched off again, didn't we? But like I say, many people had a bad night, didn't they?
I thought Morel was
a bad night.
Yeah, he just couldn't pass a ball, could he? Which is unusual for him. But I thought as soon as the Barnsley forward line looked quite dangerous in the first 10 minutes, and I just thought this is going to be a problem, because whenever we come up against any sort of lively attackers like that,
Physical as well, weren't they?
Physical, yeah.
Very physical,
Movement,
very lively.
yeah.
But didn't you think? And look, I'm not going to start slating Mourinho because he's a young manager and he's newish into the job, and I'm certainly not slating him. But one thing I did worry about is, and seeing the team, I thought, well, that's quite good. We're going very positive into this game.
Yeah.
But actually, in hindsight, and I know hindsight's a wonderful thing, but as a professional manager, I think you always question what's the point in Thompson. Well, surely last night was the point in Thompson, wasn't it? It was clear from the first half, from the moment they scored onwards, they obviously got 2 quick goals, and then it was really like, we were hanging on. It could have been 3 or 4 by half time. Yeah. And surely at that point, even at some point in the first half, I'd have thought, we're getting overrun in midfield here. We're getting massively overrun. Get someone like Thompson on just to settle it down. Lowry, I think, for him, too lightweight to come into a game like that, which was really cool. I thought he had some good touches. I thought he looked lively, but he just in the first half, not so much. Once they scored, I think the first 20 minutes he looked lively, but from that moment onwards, it's kind of like we were getting battered, absolutely battered. Yeah. And I think tactically, I don't know, Mourinho never changed the shape, does he? He always plays the same shape. And is that an issue? Because I can't remember who it was, but I remember a football manager once saying, you pick the system to suit the players you've got. Now, there's a couple of things about last night, I think, is clearly Scarlett's not a left winger, is he? He's not a left attacking player.
Well, I genuinely forgot Scarlett was playing until 15, 20 minutes into the game, I think it was. And they mentioned him, and I saw him, and I was like, I forgot he was out there. I forgot he was out on that left wing. I hadn't heard his name mentioned. I don't even think he touched the ball.
Yeah. It's we'll come back to Scarlett in a minute because I just want to discuss him briefly. But yeah, so he clearly you pick a system that's going to suit the players that you've got, or you pick the players that actually. What's wrong with why are we not playing Lane from the start in the wide positions? And when he does come on, he seems to play through the middle. I don't think doesn't seem to suit him. And again, Jacobs seemed to be going out wide again, and he's got no pace. He can't. Why, when he's played really well through the middle, are we putting him back out wide? It just seems bizarre. I just don't get it. I don't get the tactical. I don't get what they're trying to achieve by those tactics. And I thought, Tunnicliffe was. I don't think had a great game, but I don't think any of the midfield three had a good game, especially Morale.
Well, I thought Tunnicliffe was all right. I thought he was all right.
He was okay. He was probably the best of the three, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought when you're up against a physical team like Barnsley were, surely you want a bit more physicality in there. And Thompson's your man, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know why he started Lowry. I was surprised to see him start. I thought.
Yeah.
And then the fact that he took him off after an hour or whatever it was, I thought, well, are you taking him off to change things up, or are you saying he's not fit? And if he's not fit, why have we started him in a game like this? I don't know.
Yeah. Keep him for the last 20. Surely you keep him for the last 20. If it's tight, then he can open a door, can't he? But if you start him, then we kind of saw what happened, and that's I think that's down to poor choice. But like I said, I'm not going to. That's a one-off. It'd be interesting to see whether he is that rigid with his tactics moving forward, or whether he actually has some flexibility with it. But it did seem as if it's kind of like, well, look, I play a 4-2-1-3 system, or 4-2-3-1, however you want to call it, and that's how I play.
Yeah.
What do you think of Dale?
Well, I was just about to say, Dale seems to be. He's in the team every week, isn't he? And
he loves him, doesn't he?
He loves him, and I don't know. I don't know why.
Product, isn't it? Every week, we say every week, and I feel bad, kind of, because as we say the same things every week. It's got high energy, high work rate, no product, or very little end product. Had it against Cambridge. Just get the ball in the box, man.
Yeah, and it's like the one where he was offside. It was him, wasn't it? Was it Lowry playing the ball through?
Yeah.
And I just thought you should never be. No, it wasn't. But it was him. Wasn't he the one that delayed the pass? That's what it was, wasn't it? I thought he put the ball through.
I can't remember which way around it is now.
Because I thought it was Dale. Yeah, no, it was Dale. It was Dale with the ball, and he just held on to it for that second too long, as usual. And then by the time we played the pass, I can't remember who it was. It must have been Bishop then, if it was through the middle.
No, I think it was Lowry.
Was it Lowry?
Yeah, I think so. Ran through, and he delayed it too much.
And it was just, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think saying people with a bit of common sense will know that even before that game, we're still not a very good. We're not a great team. So let's not start thinking just because we've beaten Cambridge at home or we've won 3 out of 4, whatever it was, 4 out of 5 before that we're suddenly going to be shooting up the table, because you know that as soon as we play these bigger teams. In fact, do you know the stats against the teams above us this season?
I do not. Please, pray tell what those stats are.
So you've got Sheff Wednesday, Plymouth, Ipswich, Barnsley, Bolton, Derby are your top 6. And then Wycombe, Peterborough and Shrewsbury are 7th, 8th, 9th. We're 10th.
Okay.
And of those teams above us, Sheff Wednesday, we drew away, playing them at home this weekend. Plymouth drew at home, lost away. Ipswich drew, lost. Barnsley drew, lost. Bolton won at home, lost away. Derby drew at home. Wycombe lost away. Peterborough won at home, lost away. And Shrewsbury draw at home. So out of those 9 teams above us, we've only won 2 games, and they've both been at home. We've lost all our away games other than the Sheff Wednesday game. And I think that sums us up. That sums Pompey up entirely this season, is that you play the weaker teams, we might get something out of it. But as soon as we play a team with any sort of quality,
nothing.
It's unlikely we're going to win.
Yeah, and I think that demonstrates it. So the majority of our wins have come from the teams in the lower half of the table. So we are where we are. We are where we deserve to be, aren't we? At the end of the day. Yeah. So that's interesting. So is it another rebuild in the summer then? Is that what we're saying? Or is it a case of we have a core of 7 or 8 decent players, and we just need to turn that into a core of 16 decent players?
Yeah, I think it has to be, doesn't it? I think we know which players are the ones that can do something, that have got a bit of quality, but we also know which players are there just to make up the numbers, and that quite easily, if they weren't there, it wouldn't make too much difference. Yeah.
The thing that frustrates me, and I said it last night, and this is, I think at this level, to a degree, it's a simple game, isn't it? Because there's a lot of physicality in League One. You've got to win your 50-50 battles, and you've got to get the ball into the box. If you don't get the ball into the box regularly enough, we saw against Cambridge, we got the ball into the box. First time we really did it, we scored. First time we did it against Barnsley, we scored. And we just didn't do it regularly enough. Whereas Barnsley were physical. I thought they won. I thought Barnsley played pretty well, to be fair. And I thought they thoroughly deserved to win it. And it could have quite easily been a much heavier defeat, couldn't it?
Yeah.
I think we were lucky to get away with 3-1. But I just don't understand why we seem to overcomplicate it. And sometimes I think that sometimes comes down to having players who are on loan from clubs in the Championship and in the Premier League, because they're not used to playing this style of football. They're used to playing, for want of a better word, a more total football way of playing football. More football,
having time on the ball, having a bit of extra time on the ball.
Yeah. Being protected more by referees.
Yeah.
Because you can get clattered in this league and not even a yellow card, can't you? You can get absolutely clattered. And the stand of the referee, as we saw again last night, it's just unbelievably poor, isn't
it? Just weird referees. This level, really weird.
It's it's beyond. I think the standard of the refereeing in the Premier League, I think it's gone down, but I think because they kind of are letting VAR make a lot of decisions, but you haven't got that luxury at this level, and it just seems they're almost doing the same sort of thing. Just if there's a 99%, well, if there's any element of doubt, they just don't give anything, do they?
No,
it's just bizarre. Or the opposite way around. It's kind of like just beyond me. Anyway,
or the other thing is, it does actually seem like it's Sunday League refereeing, where whoever shouts the loudest gets the. I think there was an example last night when the Barnsley player had a shot in the first 10, 15 minutes, and at first glance it looked like he just sort of sliced it for a goal kick, but because he put his hand up, went to the ref, that's a corner. I thought, well, the Pompey players aren't complaining much, but are you telling me the referee saw that tiniest of nicks off of Morel or whoever it was, and gave? He was just quick to go, corner ball, It's sort of like they just listened to the loudest call.
Just seemed to spin off. There's also another one where their player rose above. I think it was Rafferty at the far post, headed it. Clearly, he headed it wide. He even started running back towards the halfway line. Referee gave a corner. It's like, what are you doing? And then they nearly scored from the corner as well, which would have been horrendous. And there's also that other one where Dale was clearly fouled down by the touchline, by their goal line, in the corner. It wasn't even close, was it? It was a clear foul. Nothing. Right in front of the linesman. What's the linesman doing if he was?
Linesman's just standing there,
doing nothing. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Well, we could go on about these all night long, but what we must do is we must look ahead to Sheff Wednesday at home. What do we think, Dan? What do we?
Well, is it going to be? I'm looking at my stats again, and I've got a gap. I've got a gap where Sheff Wednesday at home is. All the others, as you can see, they say lose away from home. Sheff Wednesday home. They're too good, aren't they? They're too good. So a draw would be nice if we were in a position where we were looking to still get in the playoffs, but let's just have a nice morale boosting win, shall we?
Might as well go for it now, haven't we? Might as well just go.
Well, that's the thing.
Blazing. We're not going to go down. We're not going to go up.
Exactly. Play Lane, play Pigott, drop Scarlett, drop Dale for a bit.
Would you play Pigott just behind Bishop then, would you?
Well, I think that's the problem, isn't it? They're very similar.
He does seem to link up quite well, doesn't he? He seems to link them.
Yeah, and he's better on the ball, isn't he, Pigott, as well? He's a better footballer than Bishop. But maybe play him in behind or try two up top. But I don't know. Not many teams have played two up top these days, do they?
No. And it's difficult when you're playing with wide attackers, I suppose, as well. Because who unless we went with a kind of narrow formation, we know Dale's going to start. It seems as if Dale's fit, we play him. So, I don't see how I can't see how we can change the system to accommodate two up front, because that would mean we'd have to play almost like a diamond midfield, wouldn't we?
But then again, we've played Scarlett in that left wing position for however many games, and that's been like playing with 10 men, isn't it?
Yeah. So on the subject of Scarlett, he's obviously got. I believe there's a certain aspect of the crowd on the other night chanting particularly unpleasant things at him. He's 18 years old. At the end of the day, he's only just an adult, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
That's not really on, is it? I don't think.
No, I mean, I wouldn't stand there screaming abuse at him. I think he's out of his depth. I think he doesn't look interested. No. He doesn't look like he's enjoying it. But I wouldn't stand there screaming abuse at him.
And not being funny, that's kind of down to us, our management, our whoever, what's his name, Rolf Harris, the director of football, whoever he is, Richard Hughes, isn't it? Richard Hughes, yes. Because clearly that was the case before the January window. So if it's clear that he's not enjoying his football, he's not actually contributing that much, let's just get him back at Spurs and let's get somebody else in, surely, don't you? That's what we should have done, isn't it?
Yeah,
you'd think. And it's no, it's just it is what it is when you've got loan players. If they're not contributing, and I'd imagine he's on a decent wage, and I imagine we're probably paying a fair proportion of that. Even if it's just 50%, it's a decent wage. Then just getting back to Spurs. Yeah. Let's get someone else in
and stick Lane out there. What have we bought him for? If he, we've tried him in that cam position, or just in behind the attacker, and it's not gone well. So stick him out where he wants to play. Stick him out on the wing.
Yeah, exactly. Where he's going to do some damage. And surely that's where he was the best. That was his best position at Fleetwood, apparently. So,
well, we all remember.
Why not? Yes, his big shows. Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Sheff Wednesday at home. I said before the Barnsley game, if we get 2 points from the next 2 games, I'll be reasonably happy. We obviously didn't get a point at Barnsley. I think Sheff Wednesday is going to be a big ask just for a point. Yeah. But you never know. I think the key now, we're not going up, as we've said. I think the key now is just betting in the players who we need to bet in that are with us next season. And let's start working on a few things. And let's have a good push next year. Season number 7 in League One. Let's do it. Yeah, that's a good plan, isn't it? Where do you think? So, where do you think we'll finish then in the league? Because it's quite tight from us up until 7th. It's relatively tight. There's obviously then a big gap up until 6th. I think it's about 6 points or something like that. So I don't think the top 6.
We're 10 points off, aren't we?
We're 10 points off. I think there's 3 or 4 points between us and 7th, isn't there? And then there's a gap between 7th and 6th.
Yeah, we'll finish 10th, Mike. Where we've been pretty much every game
since December.
Yeah. I'll try and have a look at the table, but sticky internet tonight.
Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So we can expect more doom and gloom on the social media channels between now and the end of the season. Great, just how I like it. Everybody loves a good moan, don't they?
Yeah.
Sure do. All right. All right. Well, that's about it. If you want to get involved, I've got a question actually. Here's a little question. The question this week was, what was your favourite Pompey game you have seen live? Here's a question we'll discuss next week. What is your match day routine for home games? Do you have a different routine? Do you stick to the same routine every single home game? Or do you mix it up? Do you just do things differently? I imagine most people probably have a similar sort of routine, don't they? I don't mean similar as in to other people. I mean similar to them. They do the same thing each time. Go to the same pub, meet the same mates, probably. But let us know. Either email us. The details are down at the bottom of the screen there. Tweet us, Facebook us, or come along next week, pop it in the chat. Okay, that's about it from Eat My Goal. We will be back 8:30 next week. If you're sticking with us at 9 o'clock, we've got the premiere pod. We'll see you then if you're staying with us. If not, bye for now.